Hey guys, welcome back to the podcast. I have a wonderful guest, Mary. She's a doctor based out of New York City, and she's been investing in real estate while also being a doctor. So thank you so much, Mary, for hopping on the show. Just to give people just a really short summary, because I know you've been speaking about this on many different podcasts, but just give us a short summary of who you are and basically where you're at.
Yeah, so I am a dentist and I had tons of student loan
Yeah.
debt. I had no idea about anything about money, and I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, and something just shifted in my
Uh-huh.
head. So now I'm all in to create like financial freedom for myself and to like educate others on how they can reach financial freedom.
I love that. And I ask all my guests this question is what is the purpose of what you're doing outside of the monetary aspect and the materialistic aspects? Like what really drives you on a like deeper level, like a soul level?
I think like when we're here on Earth, we should be providing a service to everyone and
Mhm.
help each other. And like a lot of times people make products or do business for like personal profit. But ideally, I think if you want to like help people in general, you have to make something that's good that everyone can have like access to, where it's not so expensive that only like a few elites have it. So I want to be able to eventually in the future have something in mind, but I eventually want to create a product that can be accessible to like everyone at the lowest possible cost. And it's not something like cheap, but it's like the best possible ingredients and materials for everyone.
Is that like educational or is that like part of the dentistry? What are you thinking on that
Yeah,
front?
something for like dental related, but it's something in
Oh.
my head that's been brewing. So that's my ultimate, I think,
Uh-huh.
like Mount Everest long-term goal. Yeah.
Okay. I'm actually curious on I'm not obviously part of the dentistry world, but I've recently had a cavity that I get filled, which wasn't pleasant, but it is what it is.
hmm
Were you thinking about more of like a product in regards to like with teeth or a? I just would like to know, or a tool
Yeah,
for
no, like
dentistry.
for teeth, yeah. So
Okay,
when it comes
cool.
out,
Well,
we'll do another one.
yeah, no problem. I'd love to see what that might be. And I know we connected on many different like levels as far as like networking because we're both in this same groups, and we ended up meeting you first on the first community camp back in 2023 on a bus ride going to I believe Jerry's Norton's house or something along those lines, some activity. And you're a dentist, and you gave me like a goodie bag too as well, which was like so sweet of you to do so. I was like, wow, okay, thanks. I didn't know you just carried that around. But in this particular podcast, I want to talk about the fund to funds that you did a deal with and kind of like walk me through. I have my own personal fund to funds, but I haven't been using it the way I should be. But I would love to learn how you're using it and kind of how you start, like in that whole journey, whole process.
Yeah, so my very first deal in real estate after being in dentistry was to fund of funds, which was
Uh huh.
insane. So we had to raise minimum 500,000, but the total raise for the property I think was like 64 million or something. Yeah,
Oh
so it's a
wow.
fund of that main fund. Yeah, and then
Okay.
it was really hard. It was not easy. It was
Yeah.
grueling, and I made a list of like definite yeses, for accredited investors, maybes, and nos. And everyone that I
Yeah.
thought for sure would invest in the deal said no to me. Like they were dropping like flies.
Oh.
And it was not easy. Like we were putting in so much work to raise this capital, and finally we raised enough to qualify. Otherwise, we would have lost probably like $12,000 in the lawyer fees.
Oh wow. Okay, so kind of because I know I know a little bit of what it takes to raise capital because I just recently just tried doing that for an RV park.
Oh yeah.
Now, for you, like what are you doing? Why is it so hard to raise capital? Can you kind of walk us listeners through that? Like what are you actually doing? What makes it so hard?
Well, probably because number one, I didn't know what I was doing. That's number one. Number two,
Okay.
yeah, so, and the second thing is, I think everyone still sees me as like Mary the dentist. Like they don't see me as a
Yeah.
real estate investor. So there was a trust factor. They don't see me as an investor. Why would they give me a money for me to invest in? So there was a trust factor there. And
Okay.
yeah, I think that's one of the reasons why it was so hard. Because they see me as Mary
Okay.
1.0, but like Pace was saying at Owners Club on Sunday service, like people need to change. And
Yeah.
I feel myself changing, but I think when I meet my friends and family, they still see me as the old version Mary and not the new version Mary. And I think that's the
Yeah.
hardest part because yeah, they're just like, why are you doing this? Like you're a doctor, you're a dentist, like are you like it was so bad. They were like, are you an idiot? You're so stupid. And I'm like,
Oh
oh
my
my
gosh.
God. It was yeah, but it was tough.
Wow.
But we did
Okay.
it. We
So
didn't give up.
did you send out constant emails to people? Did you start texting, calling? Did you post it on social media? Like what were like some of your actions that you would do?
Yeah, so I did all of that. I texted most of the people that I knew.
Uh-huh.
And then I am good with presentations because I teach full time. So I put together a
Yeah.
presentation, I posted on social media. I met with people one on one. I did one on one Zooms with them. I met them in person to go over the deal. And
Yeah.
it's funny because some people that were interested, they were interested in like a deal, and then when I presented it to them, all of a sudden they backed out, right?
Oh,
And
really?
then
What yeah.
yeah, they were interested. Like before I had a deal and I was talking about,
Uh-huh.
oh, we should work on financial freedom. People were interested in that topic. And I said, "Hey, I have a deal. Like, let's invest in this deal. It's a good opportunity." All of a sudden they were
Sure.
like, "Oh no, I'm not interested." And instead of just like letting it go, I was just really curious like what made them say no. So I
Yeah.
just reached back out to them. It's not like I was like trying to convert them or anything, but I said,
Sure.
"Hey, you're my friend and I thought you wanted to do this. This is my first time." I was honest with them. I said, "This is my first time raising
Yeah.
capital, but do you mind sharing with me what made you change your mind and not want to invest?" And then they told
Uh-huh.
me what their concerns were, and I was able to explain everything and answer all their concerns one by one. That then they
Uh-huh.
got confidence, and then I converted a few after that.
Oh, that's a
Yeah,
great tip,
just follow
actually.
through.
So did you, yeah, follow through. And what was the actual investment that you were raising money for? Was it a multifamily?
A 432 unit
Okay.
property. Yeah,
Oh, wow. Where is it based out of?
it's in Phoenix, Arizona. In Phoenix.
Sorry, I didn't catch that, Mary. I think you
Oh,
broke up.
Phoenix, Arizona. Phoenix. Can you hear me?
Oh, Phoenix? It was in Phoenix?
Yeah, Phoenix. Sorry, is it freezing?
Yeah, gotcha. Yep. No worries. I know New York is, I know New York may be, there's everybody using internet in New York, so it could be just a crowd density issue
Oh.
or just an older laptop that you have. Um, okay, so it was in Phoenix. Now, once you got that feedback from your investors, did you add those objections or concerns into your pitch deck? Did you revise it?
Um, I think it was no, I didn't revise anything, but
Uh-huh.
when I spoke to other investors, I brought up those topics.
Oh, okay. And do
Yeah,
you
so
think that helped a lot with the conversions?
yeah, because I think number one, they don't trust you because it's your first raise.
Yeah.
And number two, they do have a lot of concerns. So as long as you address their concerns and put them at ease, then
Yeah.
it'll build the confidence. Yeah.
Okay. And looks like are you still raising capital now for your future deals or somebody else's deals? How are you doing it now?
Yeah. So now I have my own capital. I'm trying to invest in my own deals. So I'm looking
Okay.
for like to invest as a PML or
Okay.
PMP, and then yeah, that's what I'm looking for.
Okay. So like private money partners or private money lenders are those kind of terminologies that you kind of throwing out, which makes sense. Um, so let's just say if I was like, interested in raising capital and you said fund to funds in the beginning, like how did you end up starting your fund to funds? Like who'd you end up going through and how'd you start the process?
So I got this opportunity through Pace. because I
Uh-huh.
was a mastermind member and he opened it up to the mastermind members. And then
Oh.
it's through Vina's property. So it was
Uh-huh.
through Pace, and then from Pace, he got the connection, and then that's how we did it.
Okay, gotcha. And then just it all circles back to community and like basically who your network is. And Sub Pace does an amazing job with community. We have Gator community, which is the lending community, and then we also have the Sub Two community, which is kind of all encompassing of like anything that we're single family homes to multifamily homes to commercial. It's really amazing that how what he's built in there. So like that's how Mary and I connected more or less is the Sub Two community. And I can't say so. I see Mary at all of the events that she goes to. She's like hungry for knowledge, and that's what I'm really impressed about Mary is she's always looking for more resources, looking to grow herself better, and just putting herself out there. I mean, I every time I'm on social media, I always see her like at an event. I'm like, oh wow, she's working full time and she's at an event. That's insane to me.
I'm addicted.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, Mary, like I don't think people realize like how many events you go to because like when we were talking maybe a few months ago, you were basically at one event and then you're like, oh no, I gotta go to another event like after this event, and I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, how do you juggle all of these things? So like, I'm just kind of curious on my own fascination here, like how do you manage your personal life with your dentist life, your professional life with your real estate life.
Yeah, it's a lot because I work full time. I have a part-time private practice job, and
Oh my gosh.
yeah, so during my like mornings, lunch times, and evenings, I would do something related to outside of dentistry.
Oh wow.
And then yeah, but every waking moment I have, I'm doing something related to my new life. Yeah.
All right, so just add some context here. You're not you don't have kids, right? You don't have a family. You just have a dog,
I have a dog. Yep,
which
yep.
is
That's a
which is
dog.
your kid, which is basically your
Yeah.
kid. And you're not married, but you have a partner, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so how does your spouse or your partner feels about what you're doing? I'm just kind of curious.
I think he's skeptical,
Uh,
but he's somewhat supportive, but also like he's like
yeah.
on the fence. He's like just
Oh,
do
okay.
something and I think he wants me to prove to him, but he never stops
Oh,
me. Like
wow.
when I go to meetings, he never says no. Like he's very supportive
Yeah.
in that sense. So, and I go to
Okay.
a lot and he's very supportive for that. So that's good. But I think he's the type where he's comfortable in life where he doesn't want to go for something more, right? He's just
Oh,
comfortable because
yeah.
he's dentist. He was my classmate. That's how I met him. But
Okay.
I want more. I want something more. And I
Yeah.
told him that. I said, this is not the life that I want. Like this is
Oh.
not it. So I told him. So he's got to get on the bandwagon. But I think he just wants me to prove
Right.
myself first. Yeah.
Okay. And you think, circling back to funds, you think this could be your, I guess, potential, not, I wouldn't say ticket, but like your way into the door to where you can prove to your significant other that, fund to fund models does work and we are getting great returns. Is that kind of like where you're going with that?
I mean, I like the fund of funds. I like the experience I got because just all the back end work of like the portal,
Uh-huh.
dealing with investors, taxes, it was a lot that I we had to learn. Like we had no idea what we're
Oh, okay.
doing. And we're learning as we go, but these are
Yeah.
investors' money and I feel really responsible because like half the investors are my friends and family.
Yeah.
So it's like I feel a huge
Yeah.
responsibility. So I'm making sure things are getting done. You know, when you have partners, you have to make sure
Yeah.
things get done properly and with your attorney and also your CPA. So I'm
Sure.
learning a lot and I'm grateful for the experience. And eventually I want to do my like own fund, hopefully.
I definitely can relate to that responsibility because I have friends and family's money on the line too as well, and I'm very very protective of their money, and I want to make sure that they get paid out first and they get great returns. Like I'm offering 10% on average. What is your fund to funds offering to your investors?
It's supposed to be like a 5-year hold for a 1.8x multiple.
Okay.
Yeah, hoping to
Okay.
exit in three. But the
Okay.
percentages return, it's different every year. In the first
Right.
year, I think it was like 3, 4%, then it goes up gradually until it hits the
Okay.
fifth year when they exit.
Oh, okay. Cool. Awesome. Yeah, that's kind of like the structure of that particular fund. And as the capital raiser, what what do you get out of the deal?
Um, I did it for the learning experience because I
Okay.
just wanted to do something. So I did it for the learning
Yeah.
experience. Um, we get like an acquisition fee and a management fee and then an
Okay.
exit fee. So there's like a fee
Oh.
for every acquisition, managing for the whole 5 years, and then the
Uh-huh.
exit, we get a percentage. But honestly, we're making nothing. Like we're working for nothing and we're
Yeah.
actually negative and we had to do a capital call for the GPs because of
Oh,
all the
geez.
expenses. Like the accountant's going to cost you so much.
Right.
And we have two companies. We have the management company and we have the fund company.
Mm-hmm.
So we have two funds that we needed CPAs for. We had to hire a securities attorney. We
Yeah.
had just little miscellaneous stuff that we have to pay expenses for. So we're making nothing, but it's for the experience that I did it. Yeah, for
Yeah.
now.
And then so like if someone's hearing this like why would they want to raise capital if they gotta go in the negative, right? That's kind of what I'm hearing. uh I think, I mean, the takeaway for me is the learning experience to raise capital and kind of get in the weeds of things and understanding what it actually takes. But I mean, you end up mentioning that you are going to get a fee along the way, but that's like towards the end of the project. And so in my mind, like you're basically learning while you are potentially earning a bigger payday at the end once the asset is matured. Is that kind of also what you're looking for? Is like basically at the end of this particular project, I'll get X amount of money and I get learning experience, and then that way I can show this on my resume to where, hey, I completed these things, I'm a successful project, and then this next one that I have is going to be basically the same thing or but better. Is that kind of
Yeah.
like what you're doing?
So you get to put it on your like CV. I guess there's a real estate CV. And
Yeah.
then yeah, so you get to put it there. You have the experience, which is good, so you could put that in your back burner. And then
Uh-huh.
we've learned a lot of lessons, so that's good. Yeah.
What kind of lessons have you learned like going through this capital raise, this most recent one?
Um, I would say choose your partners carefully
Yes.
and make sure your contracts are, written the way that you want it, just in case if there's any issues, if something happens, like, you're protected. Um,
Uh-huh.
because, you go to these meetings and sure, you think everyone's of the same mindset, but once you start getting to know people, once you really work with them, sometimes it's like different. So
Yeah.
just be careful. Don't just partner with anyone. Make sure you have the same like core values before you
Yeah.
partner with others.
And that kind of goes back to like what kind of, I guess, for the partners, because I'm kind of going through this right now, like partnership wise, I'm basically partnering up with more folks, and I've learned some hard lessons along the way. I guess what kind of qualities or lessons have you learned from a bad or good partners, if you have any experience with that?
Yeah. My like one of my main core values, I have three, like
Yeah.
honesty, like just be honest, don't lie to me. If it's bad news,
Yeah.
I'd rather get the bad news than fix the problem.
Right.
Honesty, integrity, do the right thing. And the last thing is like accountability. When you do something
Yeah.
wrong and you fuck up, like just say you fucked up and so we can move forward. But if you can't even admit that you did something wrong and you're not
Yeah.
self-aware, that is a huge red flag for me. And
Yeah.
it's just something that I'm unwilling to compromise on because if you're not willing to take responsibility for something so small, like how are we going to deal with the big things? And like, are you going to shift blame or are you going to take responsibility? And if you
Yeah.
want a successful partnership, I think everyone needs to be held accountable.
Right.
So, yeah.
So do you flush that out in the very beginning of the conversation, or I mean, in this particular, I think, such a situation, I don't know if you had enough time to kind of go through all the due diligence that you end up mentioning, or did you?
Yeah, we didn't. We just ended up
Yeah.
partnering right away. We
Oh,
just said, oh, we're all mastermind members. Let's all like do this together,
yeah,
and then just make sure your core values. And I think that takes time to getting to know
yeah,
people. And that's why, like, I met you like a couple years ago, and I think
yeah,
we have good rapport. So,
yeah.
it's just develop relationships and get to know them, and develop that over the years, and then you'll know who you want to partner with and who you don't want to partner with.
Gotcha. Okay. That's definitely great advice. I think it's probably one of the more crucial advice because you're basically marrying somebody, not no like pun on your name, but more or less, you are if you're in business. And as far as the other learning lessons that you kind of had, like your next capital raise, what would you do something different? Like anything different that you would do?
Um, I would speak to people sooner, not later. We only had like
Yeah.
6 weeks to raise the capital, and it
Yeah.
was tough. So I let everyone know now what I do. Before I used to not
Okay.
tell people, but now I just tell everyone, oh yeah, like I'm in real estate investing. I do whole life insurance. That's another thing I really like. And just let people know what you're doing so that they're like
Yeah.
aware of it and they can reach out to you for anything.
So for the whole life insurance, I know we spoke, in person about it, but I'm just kind of curious on like what sparked your interest in regards to getting into whole life insurance policy because you're basically a doctor that went like basically to quote unquote to the dark side, but right. So you like went from like not having financial education knowledge to like learning all the financial education knowledge and tools. Like like the whole life insurance policy part of like your real estate investing once you heard about it, or like how did you end up coming across that?
So when I learned about real estate investing, whole life insurance kept popping up.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, what is this whole life insurance? So I actually started like once I get interested, I don't stop. I like dig in, I dig a rabbit hole. I keep going and going. And I
Uh-huh.
was finding out so much information, and then there's people who are really for it and people who are really against it. So
Yeah.
I always listen to both sides to see which one, resonates more like true than the other. And I realize it's a really, really good strategy that real estate investors use.
Yeah.
However, it has to be structured properly. If
Right.
it's not structured properly, it's true. It's a horrible, horrible strategy. But if it's
Uh-huh.
structured the right way, it could be like a rocket fuel.
Right.
And I got into it because I was just interested in the topic, so I just started
Uh-huh.
studying it. And then the way I got into it is I was answering everyone's questions. And people kept asking me, are you an agent or a broker? And I said, no. And after like the 10th time, I was like, what the heck? Like maybe there's a need. So that's how I got my
Yeah.
license.
That's crazy.
So,
That's insane. That's so crazy that you have that license. I mean,
yeah.
all right, explain to me what did you have to do to get that license? Like, what did you have to study? Like, because I know in my head it's probably going to be hard, but I just want to hear it from you since you have experience.
Yeah, I mean, I already studied it, so I knew it. Some of the questions were irrelevant and archaic, but if you take one
Uh-huh.
of the courses and just study the old exam questions, I mean, you'll do fine. Um,
Okay.
and I never even advertised really. The only reason why people knew is because I just talk about it. And
Uh-huh.
what's funny is people in the sub 2 community, some of them knew I have my license, even though I never like advertised it. And then they came to me for a policy and they said, what would you do?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know what I would do because it depends what your goals are. Because
Yeah.
you structure it based on what the a person's needs are.
Right.
So it's very like an art form. So it's very like strategic on how you structure it
Yeah.
so that you don't get hosed and lose out on your cash value. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, with that being said, do you have your own whole life insurance policy, Mary?
Mm-hmm. Yep, yep.
And how do you leverage your whole life insurance policy for your real estate investment?
Yeah. So you borrow against a policy and then
Uh-huh.
you put it into an investment deal. Hopefully you're getting double-digit returns because you have to pay interest on the money you have to pay back because
Yeah.
it's a loan against your policy. And but
Yep.
like after you pay it back, your cash value never diminishes. It continues
Yeah.
to like grow.
Yep.
So it's as if like after you pay it back, you basically got whatever investment you did or the car that you bought like for free.
Yeah.
So if you understand the concept, and I'm reading this book right now on Austrian banking system.
Okay.
It's just like really interesting on how the American monetary system is so messed up because like
Yeah.
all the banks and Wall Street, everything is so corrupted. So I'm reading on the Austrian banking system because that's how the infinite banking concept was started.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. That's interesting. Okay, so when okay, so you're setting up your policy. Just for listeners, you're setting up your policy. You're throwing money into your policy, whatever that chunk of money may be at the beginning or whenever you set it, and you're borrowing against that policy, and your money is still growing and compounding year over year. And the money that you borrowed, you're investing. Are you buying real estate with it? Are you lending? What are you doing with that money?
I lend with it, so it's an emergency fund if you have emergencies. So
Okay.
I just got hit with a huge tax bill because I got excited about
Oh.
some other tax-free accounts that I learned about. So
Oh
I used
no.
it as an emergency fund. So it could be used as an emergency fund or an
Okay.
opportunity fund. So if there's an opportunity
Oh.
for money lending, so right now there's an opportunities right now for a money lending deal. So I'm
Uh-huh.
looking into borrowing against it to invest in that also. So it could be emergency or opportunity fund.
Gotcha. Um, so that's interesting that you do that. So can you delineate if it's one or the other, or do you have to use it for one purpose or the other?
No, it's your money. You use it however
Okay.
you want, and you pay it back whenever you want, however you want. You have a lot of flexibility, unlike the banks. Like if
Yeah.
you have a mortgage, a
Yeah.
lot of times you have to pay a certain amount every month for like 30 years. But with
Yeah.
whole life insurance, sometimes you have really good years where you make a lot of money, and sometimes you have like a bad year where you don't make as much and you don't have as much liquidity or cash flow.
Sure.
So you pay it back at your own
Okay.
pace. So it's not like you
Okay.
have to pay this much every month on the loan that you took out. So on
Yeah.
a good year, you
That,
could pay a chunk back, and on a bad year, you could just pay the interest only, or you don't even have to pay the interest. I recommend to at least pay the interest, but
yeah.
it has a lot of flexibility and freedom to it.
Like what really fascinates me, Mary, is like how much you've like learned and grown over the course of just only a short few years. Like it's kind of crazy because you went from this person that I knew as a dentist to like a fundraiser to like an whole life insurance policy like agent now. Like I don't know where you're gonna go, Mary, but I feel like you're gonna go through like a lot of great spaces or spots in life. Um, I mean, what are you looking at? What are you looking for now? Like, are you looking for anything particular that maybe people can help you out with that is listening?
Right now, I want to invest in like commercial property. I
Yeah.
really like triple nets. I'm looking for that. I'm
Uh-huh.
gonna look at a farm soon. I want to
Oh, wow.
I'm interested in like holistic eating, organic eating, because there's
Yeah.
so much chemicals and the food like system is
Yeah.
so messed up in the pharmaceutical industry. So I really believe in like, eating healthy, eating clean.
Yeah.
So I always wanted to live on a farm, and there's this opportunity now. Like I
Wow.
just want to live on a farm, grow my own fruits, get my own eggs. Like
That's very interesting. So what kind of I mean I can see that from you, Mary, but I didn't expect that. That's great. I love that. Because you live in New York City, so it's like the total opposite of that. So I'm like, okay, that's interesting. Um, as far as like what you are looking to buy, as far as a commercial is, I know you're looking for triple net leases. Are you looking for like strip malls? Looking for like a single tenant only building? Like, is there a particular criteria?
since I'm in the health field, I was looking for like medical, health professional offices.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
In any location in the United States or particular locations?
I was looking in like Texas.
Okay. Yeah, it's great state.
Yeah.
So we're coming up on time, Mary. I would love to kind of give you just like kind of last words if you have any last words for the audience that are listening.
Yeah, just be open and learn. You just need to build a foundation if you want financial freedom. You just have to build that foundation of like financial knowledge. And
Uh-huh.
once you build that foundation, like invest as you want, grow your money tax free, and go on. So,
I love it. And where can people find you, Mary?
you can find me on Instagram, dr.mary.kang.dds.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Mary. I do appreciate you. Do you want to also give out your funds information too as well?
Oh, it's MA Visions. Yeah, but right
Okay.
now it's not open. Right now it's just doing that property
It's
now.
full, guys. It's full,
Yeah,
guys.
it's full. That one's closed. But next time,
Yeah.
yeah, we might have another one.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Mary. I truly appreciate you, and I'll see you very soon in Boston.
Thanks. Thanks for having me.
Thanks. Of course. Bye, guys.